What if the real key to independence wasn't about fixing a person, but about fixing the world around them? So today, we're going to dive into a pretty huge shift in how we think about support, moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach to something way more personal. A blueprint, really, that helps people live the life they actually want to live.
This says it all, doesn't it? It just gets right to the heart of the matter. It forces you to stop and think about where the real problem is. Is it the person's wheelchair? Or is it the stairs they can't get up? Honestly, that one single idea, it changes everything.
And to really get our heads around that idea, we need a totally new perspective, one that gets us to look beyond just the medical side of things and see the much, much bigger picture. At the very core of this new perspective is something called the social model of disability. It completely reframes the entire conversation. Basically, it argues that people aren't disabled by their conditions. No, they're disabled by the barriers that society puts in their way.
Okay, so this brings us to a really important distinction. Let's talk about two words, impairment and disability. An impairment is the medical condition, right? Like, say, hearing loss. But the disability, that's the societal barrier. That's the lecture hall with no sign language interpreter. See the difference? One's a fact about a person's body. The other is a failure of design.
And believe me, these barriers are everywhere. They can be physical things, like a building with 0 ramps. They can be about attitude, like an employer who just can't see past someone's impairment. Or they can be informational, like a critical public safety alert that doesn't have captions. These are the stairs of our modern world that we need to fix.
So if the problem is all these societal barriers, then the solution has to be a way to start taking them down, one person at a time. And that solution? It starts with a blueprint. We call it the individualized plan.
Just think of this plan as a personalized roadmap to independence. It's not a list of instructions that you give to someone. Not at all. It's a guide that's co-created with them. It details exactly what they need to navigate their world and go after their goals.
So, what exactly goes into making one of these blueprints? Well, like any good plan, it has to have a solid foundation, and this one is built on 3 core components. First up, you've got needs. These are the absolute essentials. Then you have goals, what the person wants to achieve in their life, and finally, and this is so important, you have preferences, how they actually choose to do things. It's not just about what's needed, it's about how it's delivered, their way.
Now, it's one thing to have goals, but it's a whole other thing to have a clear path to actually get there, right? To turn those big dreams into reality, these plans use a really powerful tool to give them clear direction.
And that tool is the SMART framework. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is how a kind of vague desire like, I want to be more independent, gets turned into a real actionable step. Like, for the next month, I am going to learn to cook 1 new meal by myself every single week.
Now, here's the thing. Creating and following this blueprint is definitely not a solo mission. No way. It takes a team, a whole network of trusted people all pulling in the same direction.
And collaboration is absolutely everything. This plan is at its strongest when it's built and kept going by a whole circle of support, with that one person always at the very center of it all. And this team can be made up of anyone the person trusts and wants to have involved. We're talking family, doctors, support workers, even people from school or their job. But you want to know the most important name on this list? It's that first one. The person receiving support, they are the leader of their own team, period. This brings us to the single most important idea that holds this whole thing together. It's the philosophy that guides every single action, and it's all about how the plan is put into practice. It's called person-centered practice, and it means exactly what it sounds like. The person is at the center of every single decision. The focus totally shifts from what a person can't do to building on what they can do. It's about their strengths. And when you look at it like this, you can see just how massive this shift really is. We're moving from an old-school clinical model that's all about compliance to a collaborative, choice-driven model focused on making life better. It's the difference between doing something to someone and working with them. And really, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. People are the experts in their own lives. Support is there to add to their abilities, not to define who they are. You always focus on their strengths first.
And when all these pieces come together,
The right mindset, a personalized plan, a dedicated team, this is what you get. A life that isn't defined by the support someone needs, but by the independence, choice, and dignity that every single one of us deserves.
So that brings us right back to that first image, the one with the stairs. And that leaves us all with a final question. Because, this isn't just about formal support plans. It's about the world we all build and share together. So the real question is, for all of us, how can you and I help build a world with fewer barriers?